And here's what it looks like with the pick guard off. I went ahead and removed the toggle switch from the pick guard just so I could remove the pick guard without having to take the strings off. But here's what we're working with. It's 3 single coil pickups. They're actually mounted to the body. These screws here, there are springs underneath the pickups so you can adjust the height. These are black covers on all of the pickups. Yeah, they will rock a little bit. And in my notes, I had this apart a while back, and I actually took some DC resistance measurements of the pickups, and they're all about 10K. I've got 10.41 on the neck, 10.06 on the middle, 10.42 on the far one on the bridge. It actually functions as a 2 pickup guitar, though. These 2 pickups are wired together in series. We'll see if we can get to that in just a little bit here. And then this one stands alone as a single coil. That one's a little easier to see. The toggle switch is a 3-way toggle. It's kind of a the way this is set up. Internally, there are like spring steel finger contacts that stay together under tension, so that these 2 pins are normally, there's continuity there, they're tied together, and these 2 pins normally are tied together. So what happens when the toggle is in the middle position, the other side of the bat is in the center, and both of those are together. When you flip it forward, it opens that set of contacts. When you flip it backwards, it opens these set of contacts. So the way it's wired then is, all the wiring, interestingly, is shielded wire. It's all, you can see it on this one here. There's actually it's a coaxial shielded type wire. There is gotta get this lens cap out of the way. This green wire that goes over to the volume pot comes along here. That is actually the output off the switch. These 2 are kind of wrapped together, but it connects to here, and then this yellow wire connects these 2 pins together. So what you get is, if the bat is in the middle, you're getting this pickup, which would be the rear pickup, connected to the output, and the front pickup connected to the output. And either way you do this, you break connectivity. Let me show you this over here. All the shields from these cables come together. There's a little bit of a insulator around there, and they're all soldered to the side. This drops down into this hole. One thing about this guitar, if you wanted to replace this switch, there's not a lot of room inside that cavity. You can't put in something like a 90-degree, Les Paul or SG type switch. There's a little bit of depth there, but it's a pretty snug fit. So this other yellow wire is a coax that runs back here, connects to this pickup. The pickups are wired together in series here, and then this black wire goes off to the usual ground. The back of the volume pot is the ground. There is, let me lift this out of the way here. Oh, this is holding me back. There is a black wire that goes in and is tied to the bridge internally here. There is a screw down here that is grounded. This, interestingly enough, is kind of semi-conductive paint in here. With the meter, it's not exact, and it's nowhere near 0 ohms, but it's a couple K from point to point. So this, not that it really helps them. The pickups are so microphonic that this is a very noisy guitar in use, but it actually is a shielded cavity. And another interesting thing that I thought, a couple of interesting things here. These are 500K pots. You'd think single coils were going to do 250K pots, but what they've done is the tone pot actually is grounded. So this wire here is coming off of, here's the wire that's coming from the pickups, and it's tied to terminal 3. Terminal 1 is over here. It's bent back as it normally is, soldered back to the back of the case. This wire from the pickups is going to terminal 3. Terminal 2, the wiper in the middle, is this red that goes to the output jack, but the tone pot is also tied here to, I'm just going to confirm that wire is down inside there. Yeah, it is. It's a little hard to see in here. That's also tied to terminal 3, but over on here it's tied to terminal 1 on the outside. Terminal 3 is actually bent back and soldered to the case. So it's they're grounding that and tying those pots in parallel. So that works as a 250K pot because you've got two 500K pots, but they're actually wired in parallel, which is not typical. The cap is an old school ceramic, just like you'd expect it to be. Trying to see if I can get this to cooperate. It's a .02. It's a .02 microfarad cap. There it is. There you can see it. Well, it almost focused on it for a second there. There we go. There we go. And then the other thing that's kind of odd is this is actually a stereo jack. And the ground is wired between both terminals here. And there's a, you know, it's got a switch built in there, but they're not using that. It doesn't need that, but that's what's in it. So some interesting parts in this old Yamaha. Trying to think if there's anything else to cover. Oh, there is a access when you take that off. There is a truss rod adjustment. Let me throw a little more light on here. There is a Allen, usual kind of Allen head bolt in there. There you can kind of see it. So there is a truss rod adjustment, and that is why when you look at the pickguard, there are a couple of screws up here on the front and a little piece of plastic that covers that. So normally so you could remove that and get access to the heel of the neck and get in there and adjust that if you wanted to. But there that's what the routes look like. That's what the components look like, and that's what the wiring looks like. The bridge is spring mounted. It does move back and forth, I think, a little bit under with the string tension. These are not roller. It's not a. They're not roller saddles. They're round, but they don't roll. There are multiple grooves there, so you can actually adjust. You can move the strings, change the string spacing, and kind of fiddle around with that. For the most part, as you can see, they end up in the middles, except for this high E. That one moves in a little bit to get it away from the edge. But that's the stock bridge. Kind of a Bigsby copy, sort of. The strings just go straight through the tailpiece. You can kind of see that there. They don't wrap around a roller or anything like that. It's just a flat piece of metal there that is the tailpiece. And this spring does fall out. See the blue light from the fluorescent. This spring, if you take the strings off and release the tension, there's nothing retaining this spring. It will fall out on you. But that's their version of an old school Bigsby, and it folds back like this to get out of the way. It doesn't go. I think if this goes all the way around, it hits the body over there. But actually, it can go all the way around, unlike a Bigsby that has a stop. So typically you fold that back to put it in the case. And I think that covers it.